Online voter registration in Mississippi. Part 1. What is online voter registration? Let's start with a simple question. How do you register to vote in Mississippi? Right now, most people have two options. You can register in person at places like your county election office or DMV, or you can fill out a paper registration form and mail it in. But in more than 42 states and Washington, D.C., there's another option: online voter registration. Online voter registration allows eligible voters to register to vote through a secure online portal. Instead of printing forms, finding stamps, or making a trip to a municipal office, voters can submit their information digitally. It's not a new idea. States across the country have been using online voter registration for years. The goal is simple: make voter registration easier, more convenient, and more accessible while maintaining security and accuracy. So if online voter registration is already working in most of the country, what's stopping Mississippi? And why does that matter to you? Let's talk about that in Part 2. Part 2. Why does online voter registration matter? There are four major reasons advocates support online voter registration: accessibility, cost savings, engagement, and accuracy. First, accessibility. Not everyone can easily travel to an election office or DMV during business hours. This is especially true in rural communities where transportation can be limited. Mail registration can also create obstacles. You may need access to a printer, paper, envelopes, and postage just to submit a registration form. Online voter registration removes many of those barriers by allowing voters to register from anywhere with internet access. Second, cost savings. According to research from the Brennan Center for Justice, some states have reduced voter registration processing costs by as much as 95% after implementing online voter registration systems. That's because voters enter their information directly into the system, reducing paperwork and administrative costs. Third, engagement. When registration becomes easier, more people participate. Several states reported significant increases in voter registration after launching online systems. And finally, accuracy. Instead of election officials manually entering information from paper forms, voters enter their own information directly into the system. That reduces errors and helps keep voter records up to date. For voters and election officials alike, online voter registration can make the process smoother and more efficient. Part 3. How do other southern states handle it? Mississippi is actually surrounded by states that already offer online voter registration. In Louisiana, voters can register online up to 20 days before an election using a Louisiana driver's license or state ID. In Alabama, voters can register online up to 15 days before an election with a valid driver's license or state-issued identification card. Georgia allows online voter registration up to 29 days before an election with a Georgia driver's license or DDS identification card. And Florida allows online voter registration up to 29 days before an election day. Voters need a Florida driver's license or state ID along with the last four digits of their social security number. These systems have become a routine part of election administration across the South. Mississippi remains one of the few states that does not currently offer a statewide online voter registration portal. So what impact could a system like this have here at home? Part 4. How could online voter registration help Mississippi? Mississippi voters face a number of challenges when it comes to registration. For some people, transportation is a barrier. For others, access to printers, postage, or government offices can make the registration process more difficult than it needs to be. Online voter registration would create a system that is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with clear instructions and fewer steps. It could also help voters update their information more easily if they move, change addresses, or discover issues with their registration status. This is especially important because voter rolls are regularly updated and maintained. When voters are marked inactive or removed from registration lists, an online system could provide a faster and more convenient way to verify or update their information. Research consistently shows that online voter registration increases registration rates, and some studies suggest it may also increase voter participation overall. Simply put, when registration is easier, more people are able to take part in the democratic process. Stay tuned for Part 5. Part 5. Legislative efforts and what comes next. During Mississippi's 2026 legislative session, lawmakers introduced bills that would have created an online voter registration system. House Bill 33, introduced by Representative Omiria Scott, sought to authorize online voter registration. House Bill 593, introduced by Representative Zakiya Summers, also proposed creating an online voter registration system for Mississippi voters. These proposals reflected a growing conversation about modernizing voter registration and expanding access to the ballot. Supporters argue that online registration would save money, improve accuracy, reduce barriers, and make voter participation more accessible for people across the state. Whether or not Mississippi adopts online voter registration in the future will ultimately depend on the decisions by lawmakers. But one thing is clear: voter registration is the first step in participating in our democracy. If you believe Mississippi should have online voter registration, contact your legislators and let them know. Because making voter registration easier can help ensure that every eligible Mississippian has the opportunity to make their voice heard.